On today's show, Kyrie Irving has a chance to lead underdogs to the playoffs as the number one option and more. Big things to watch for the Mavs season on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm here because I have to be here.
Explain yourself.
Sorry.
You are Locked On Mavs.
Great, Rusty.
Your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast.
No one's dying.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Dallas is going to get a seat at the table.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks, your team every day. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member covering the Dallas Mavericks for 10 years. Thanks for being an everydayer, making Locked On Mavs your first listen. Today's episode is sponsored by FanDuel. Go check out FanDuel, see what is available for you. Get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Joining me, as always, my co-host, media member, the positive person, the one more thing king. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
Oh, we're staying positive today. The best storylines about the Mavs right now.
That's right.
The best. So especially for all the people who are like, hey guys, just get over it. Move on. Then this is it. This is what's for you right now. But realistically, there are some positive, some good storylines happening with the Mavs right now. And they're worth talking about. They're worth celebrating. They're worth having fun with.
If you were a person that said, stop being so negative yesterday on our show and all that, today is the day for you. We're talking about PJ Washington's big opportunity and a chance for the Mavericks to see something from him. Talk about Max Christie and some of the young guys on the Mavericks and their opportunity. We'll talk about some other things that Anthony Davis could do later in the season and all that, focusing on all the positive storylines that we're going to look at for the rest of the season and be monitoring the rest of the season. And it starts with this, Isaac Harris. Kyrie Irving was a deserved all-star, got in as an injury replacement, should have been there from the beginning. We did a whole episode, even before the trade, where we were like, you were ranting and raving. We got classic fiery Isaac about how Kyrie should have been an all-star and all that, and we named who should have not been on it and all that. He's had an incredible season. He has been the culture setter for the Mavericks, and culture has proven to be a very big thing for the Mavericks, especially the Mavericks. The people in the front office. Culture is a big deal, and Kyrie has been one of the biggest setters for the Mavs culture this season, last season, and so on. And Kyrie Irving in his career has had a wild NBA career. So many different stops, so many different places. But one thing that he hasn't gotten a chance to do is to lead a team of underdogs since 2014. In 10 years, Kyrie hasn't led a team of underdogs. Follow his career real quick. He came into the league 2011 to 2014. He was with the Cavs. They won 21, 24, and 33 games those 3 seasons. Then LeBron comes back, and so he's there for 4 years. And so then Kyrie is with him. Then Kyrie goes to Boston and plays with Tatum and Brown. Also Horford and Smart were still, really great, high quality role players. They had 55 wins in 2018. So for 2 seasons, he was with Boston. They were not underdogs for sure. Maybe a little bit the first year, but definitely not the second year. Or maybe the second year, but not so much the first year. Then he goes to Brooklyn and he's with Kevin Durant and then Harden for some. And that was for 3.5 years or so. And now he's with Dallas with Luka Doncic. They missed the postseason the first year, so maybe you consider that one, but he's with Luka, top 5 player at the time. Then they make the finals. And so now he's faced with this opportunity to lead a group of underdogs. With Anthony Davis out for however long Anthony Davis is going to be out, he has a chance to take this team and be like, all right, I'm going to put you on my back. I'm going to be the number one option.
Yeah, he is the best storyline about the Dallas Mavericks right now. We're doing best. We're not doing the main storylines, which he is one of the main storylines with the Mavs. But obviously the main storylines about the trade and all the stuff. But the best storyline for the Mavericks right now is Kyrie Irving. And, it's not just the statistical part of his season and how efficient he's been this season. He should have been an all-star before, the injury replacement for AD. But he's been the leader. We were calling him the leader of the Mavs even before the trade.
Yeah.
Of Luka, because he was the leader of the locker room.
Thanks for clarifying what the trade was.
I mean, I feel like it's almost just called the trade.
I know, it's like a Voldemort thing.
But it's like he was the leader before that trade. He is become, in a way, the ambassador for the Mavericks. And, I kind of offhandedly said it the other day, but it's like, he's embraced the fans better than anybody above him.
Yeah.
Since the trade, came towards them games towards, us in a way that is more empathetic than anybody above him for the Mavs. So like in a way, it's kind of rested on his shoulders. He's kind of carried that weight for the Mavs and representing the Mavs and being this kind of like ambassador for the Mavs. And you also just saw the impact of him too, just watching All-Star and just seeing like I said this the other day in our subtext or Locked On Mavs Insider text program Q&A thing, and it was like, people were talking about like Kyrie at the All-Star game is and hugging up the players, who's he recruiting, all this stuff. And I'm like, I think people know that he's beloved around the NBA, but I really think people would be truly surprised at just how beloved he is around the NBA. And to see him play at that, play at the All-Star game, play at the level that he's playing at right now, it's kind of reminded everybody that like, hey, I'm one of the best players in the league. Like there was a reason why, I hit the shot in the finals against the Warriors.
Right.
There's a reason I have a ring too, and playing alongside, LeBron and the other big stars and stuff want to play alongside of me. And it's not just the fancy like TikTok, highlights and stuff. It's because people respect his game. And it seems wild because you go back 3 or 4 years ago and all the storylines around Kyrie was not about, leadership or, all the different stuff. We know all this off the court stuff and everything that the storylines are about. And now it's the whole other direction of as far as like what the storylines are about Kyrie and the leadership impact that he's had on this team, how he helps sets the culture for this Mavericks team, and how the players and team and roster and young guys look up to him, and he's the best player on the team right now. So the best storyline about the Mavericks right now is Kyrie Irving in the season he's having.
Yeah, and he now can lead this. He's going to lead this group. And Yesterday, I made I was talking about how this Mavericks team, I don't feel good about them making the playoffs because of all the injuries and things happening to them. It's going to be an uphill battle. But if he keeps them afloat, and if he even gets them further, like let's just if they play above 500 this stretch without Anthony Davis and without centers, like literally they're just going to be without centers for at least a month, probably more, without centers. Like to me, that is this is the uphill climb that the Mavs are facing. And Kyrie has a chance now to prove me wrong and a bunch of other people wrong by leading this Mavericks team to the playoffs and to the postseason through all this and through all the adversity of just the injuries alone. Like that's the thing that we're focusing on right now. And I think that's a really cool storyline is to take. All right, he's led the team off the court, like you said, for the last 2 years basically, and he's led the team on the court in ways, but now it's like both things are solely in his court right now, pun intended.
Yeah, and this might be a little controversial, but I'll lean into it. I don't care
about Kyrie.
I think if he leaves this summer, it would impact the reputation of the Mavericks to other stars in the league more than the Luka trade. Just because of the relationships and the camaraderie Kyrie has around the NBA, the amount of players from Team USA to players he's played with, to you saw the stuff at the All-Star game, like he and the impact on like the next generation and stuff too, to where if it's a Kyrie Irving who opts, to leave Dallas and it's like, all right, yeah, I'm kind of out on that. I think that would be a huge blow to the reputation because everybody knows Kyrie and has the relationships with
his word would mean more.
But if that's why I think there is a scenario in which a Kevin Durant can come to Dallas, and a lot of it has to do with a Kyrie Irving, or if it's not Durant, it's somebody else. Because if Kyrie's like, yeah, I want to stay here, I want to re-up here because of how I've been treated here, and just the career, I don't want to say resurgence, whatever I've had in Dallas and stuff. I think that stuff has a lot of impact on some other stars. The trade did too, but I think Kyrie's decision commitment to the Mavs long-term this summer will have a lot of impact around the league.
That'll be a fascinating thing to watch in the offseason. But I think how the season ends could affect that for him right? I think that how this team has embraced him, how the fans have embraced him, how the front office and coaching staff and just everybody involved in the organization has embraced him and will embrace him through this time and lean on him and put him in a position where he feels loved and valued and welcomed and like he can win here. And that's maybe the most important, is that feels like he could win here. Then that could mean a lot to that going forward. And so again, Kyrie's the best storyline, and him leading, him being part of this team and being the number one on this team while Anthony Davis is out is the big thing to watch for the rest of this season. Yeah. 26 games left, and he's got a really big opportunity. Coming up, another big opportunity for PJ Washington at the 5. This is something we've been asking for a long time, and I think we're going to see it a lot. And we forget how good of a season he had before this. What can he do for the rest of the season? We'll talk about that more coming up. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks daily fantasy made easy. Go check out Prize Picks to see what is available for you. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and if you're right, you can win it to 1,000 times your cash. With Prize Picks, you control the action all season long. There's all kinds of things you can combine, college basketball and NBA and all kinds of different things too. If there's a golf event or I don't know, whatever else you're doing, there's so many different things you can combine with Prize Picks. You just create a lineup, and it has to be at least 2 players, and then go on from there. For example, you can pick Tatum more than 29 points, Anthony Edwards more than 25 points. It works just like that. If you're right on both of those things, it takes just 60 seconds. You can get paid in as little as 15 minutes when you win. Download the app today. Use that code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, what we call our listeners. We appreciate you for listening every day. Check out our Locked On Mavs text line, what we call our insiders. If you want to support the show, text us, get text alerts from us on rumors. Send stuff during game days, all kinds of stuff on that. Answer questions. Text 214-643-8637, or there's a link in the description or the QR code. All right, Isaac. Best storylines for the rest of the season. Keeping it positive. Keeping it good. Kyrie is obviously a great one. We're going to be watching his game and watching what he can do, because I think he can prove a lot of people wrong throughout the rest of the season. Again, PJ Washington is another one to me that I think is going to be a big deal. In the doom and gloom that we talked about yesterday, where it's, man, they don't have centers, they're without Anthony Davis, it's going to be a really uphill battle. They are going to get PJ Washington back, right? Like, I think we expect him to play as soon as All-Star break ends, and right coming out of the gate, he should be back. And he's had an incredible season, both with and without Kyrie, Luka, whoever's on the court. He's just been awesome, and he led them when both of those guys were out for a little while. Averaging 14 points, 8 boards, couple of assists, a steal, a block, shooting 38% from 3. Like, he's just had such a good season. And honestly, like, the Mavericks have kind of, for lack of a better term, groomed him, trained him, developed him for this moment. Because they've been trying to get him to score in different ways, to score on post-ups, to score on, attacking off the dribble, to score off of a dribble handoff or something like that. And I think he's got a great opportunity right now, and especially to play the 5, because I think they're going to lean on that lineup a lot.
Yeah, for me, why I have PJ on my list for like the best, one of the best Mavs storylines is I think this season he's taken a little bit of step forward of like what they're asking for him as a player. I think he's improved on different things. I think he's improved on his confidence and stuff too, in his role in Dallas, post, he had the trade and stuff. He came over last year and stuff. So, and I think for me, it's like kind of the zoom out bigger picture of PJ, of not just the playoffs, but even this season too, because I think he's improved defensively this year also, is like PJ Washington at one of the most ideal positions has proved that he's a winning piece. And it's like for so many teams around the league, they're looking for these 6'9", 6'10" guys that can do everything that PJ can do defensively and offensively. And that is versatile. He's not a 3-and-D guy. Like he's way more than that. Like you're not going to give him the 3-and-D label at all, because he does a lot more than that. And that's what teams are looking for, that next evolution of 3-and-D guys. So it's like the Mavs found a guy in PJ Washington that, yes, you've already seen it in the playoffs, standing on business, the big moments, the captivating the fan base, guarding some of these, top players in these series as they beat OKC and Minnesota and go to, Boston. When you play at Boston, you need a guy like a PJ Washington that can guard some of these guys. So I think it's the zoom out view of PJ that, hey, yeah, your core right now is Kyrie and AD, you're a win now team, but you've also found one of those pieces too. And it's not, when we're talking about like starting fives or who's closing or whatever it is, it's just an automatic of like, all right, well, we got 3 in place, Kyrie, AD, and PJ. Before the trade, it was all right, Kyrie, Luka, and PJ. Like PJ was just a lock. Like you got to have PJ in there. And it's like, that's the thing of like, he's cemented himself as this, like he has to be there in the beginning and the end. And he's done it at the highest level. I think that's a huge win for the Mavs right now.
Yeah. Did they have a piece like that? He's a building block piece. He's only 26.
A culture setter too. Like,
yeah.
I mean, fans love him. Locker room loves him. He's just been a great Maverick ever since they've traded for him.
He's such a hype man too, because the Anthony Davis moment, he's like, I'm effing here. Like when he yells that, PJ Washington was yelling and screaming the same way right next to him, right? Like he seems to already embrace this next chapter of Dallas Mavericks basketball. I want to go back to him playing the 5 because I think this is huge.
Yeah.
How many possessions do you think they've played with PJ at the 5 without centers?
8.
183, which is like not a lot at all. A little more than I thought, but not a lot at all. And I think we're going to see that number just go up significantly. I think they could, from day one, I think they're going to start PJ at the 5 because it's been Kessler, Edwards, Omax, Prosper. PJ can do the things that those guys do too. So I think that we're going to see that a ton and see the Mavs versatility. By the way, the Mavs were a +9 net rating. They outscored teams by 9 points per 100 possessions when they played PJ at the 5. So I'm interested to see how that works. But yeah, PJ at the 5 is one of my best storylines looking forward to.
Yeah. And before, AD went down in that game, it's like when he twisted his ankle, it's like, he's one of the most irreplaceable guys on the team. And it was just such a big bummer when they lose PJ and how they, tried to adjust without PJ. But can I give you another one?
Give it to me.
I think the young guys is like a fun storyline, is one of the best storylines for the Mavericks right now in the season. You look at the 2 guys in Max Christie and Dereck Lively. And yeah, Lively has been hurt and we don't know when he's going to be coming back with the stress fracture in his foot. But you look at how, nothing's changed about how I've viewed Lively moving forward. I think he's a key, part, one of the best young bigs in the league. So it's like, you got him, you get this Max Christie, kid who just turns 22 in this trade. That's like Lakers fans were bummed to lose him. It's like, all right, he has, potential. He's been playing well since in the starting line for the Lakers. What is the like full potential there? Excited, but you're like, I don't know what the like ceiling is. And now he's come in and it's like, dude, are you like long-term starter? I mean, yes. what is the ceiling here? And he's just a lot of fun. And it's like, yeah, in the midst of all of this like turmoil right now, and it's a win now team, you also have these 2 young guys that look like 2 young studs that are going to be part of your rotation for like years to come. And I think that's an awesome storyline. There's so many times that there's like win now teams that are, have the 2 stars that's making $40 million, whatever it is. And it's like, you're just like trying to find some pieces, but like they don't, like some of these like really win now teams, they don't have the like 2 young studs. It's like, oh, they're going to be there for a while. Dallas has that in Lively and Christie.
Yeah, they have a future there with those 2 guys, and a future where those 2 guys, we don't really know the ceiling of either of them yet. Like there's still more things for Lively to figure out. There's still more things for Max Christie to show. I mean, he's played 6 games for the Mavericks.
Not trying to say it's we have Kobe and Shaq 2.0. It's just saying that like you have 2 young studs that's going to be in your rotation for a long time, and they're good already.
It's like a Kobe and Shaq if they were, like you say a poor man's, but I don't know. Maybe it's just like the middle class Kobe and Shaq. Maybe it's that.
Great value?
No, better than great value, but middle class. The middle class Kobe.
Trader Joe's.
Kobe and Shaq. Yeah, I'm excited to see those young guys. I mean, for Max Christie, it's just show me what you got, right? Like if you've seen Rick and Morty, show me what you got. Like he's going to get this huge opportunity to take a bunch of shots, to play in a bunch of different scenarios. He already has. He's averaging 34.5 minutes in the first 6 games he's played for the Mavericks because 1, they needed him, and 2, because Jason Kidd has trusted him already, and he's proven Jason Kidd right in a lot of ways. He's averaging 17 points 5 boards, 3.5 assists, a steal. He's already done a lot for this Mavs team, and I think that that's only going to go up. I don't see him as a player that Jason Kidd goes, all right, I'm going to trust you for 35 minutes tonight, and the next night 10 minutes, the story was for Quentin Grimes.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's gonna be a roller coaster thing for him.
Right. And so that's something to look forward to, because you're just going to see different nights. He's going to show different things. He's had great defensive moments already. You're going to get a lot of that. I mean, you start looking through the schedule, and it feels like every night there's somebody else for him to guard. You've got CJ McCollum. You got Steph Curry. You think he's going to guard Luka when they play the Lakers on the 25th? Then you have,
it's probably PJ, but I can't even think about that right now.
Probably, but like, he could get an opportunity. Then you probably Dame Lillard for the Bucks. Like, do you just keep looking down and you're like, oh, here's another opportunity to see what Max Christie is capable of? And I think that's something that's super exciting and a positive for the Mavericks, is that you have somebody to look at. Plus, eventually Lively will come back, and with those two guys together, like you were saying, they have this young duo that they can build around. That they know that they have those two guys as the super role players that can fit with anybody. Right, unless you're a Jokic or an Embiid, I don't think you're playing Lively next to them, but you can pretty much fit any superstar around those two guys.
Well, I mean, defensively, when everybody's healthy, Max, PJ, AD, and Lively, pretty dang good defensively.
Let's go. Kyrie's just going to be standing at the top of the key, like, I don't really have to do a lot here.
He's like, dude, I've been working my butt off, but crap, I can just kind of chill.
I appreciate this moment right here. Coming up, I'm excited to see something Jason Kidd can do. I'm also excited for the other storylines for this Mavericks team. Let's talk about those and more. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by our sponsor, Intuit TurboTax. Taxes used to be waiting, wondering, and worrying if you were going to get any money back. And then it was waiting, wondering, and worrying some more. Now taxes is matching with a TurboTax expert who can do your taxes as soon as today. An expert who gives your taxes their undivided attention as they work on your return, while you get real-time updates on their progress so you can focus on your day. Isn't that what we all want with our taxes? An expert who will find every deduction possible, file every form, every investment, everything with 100% accuracy. Also, you can get the most money back guaranteed. No waiting, no worrying, no worries. This is taxes now with TurboTax. Get an expert now at TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live full service. Real-time updates only in iOS mobile app. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
All right, Isaac, we're focusing on the positive storylines for the Mavericks the rest of the season. Some positives that we can see for this team. Let's move forward. Let's see what's going on with this Mavs team. We talked about Kyrie, talked about PJ, talked about the young guys, Max Christie. Real quick with Jason Kidd, I think he's got a chance to put his stamp on this team post Luka, right? Because what was the big thing for Jason Kidd? And honestly, one of our big criticisms is that Luka was the system, right? And so and that was it. And as a coach, you have to do that, right? It's what you should do. Luka was the offensive system. You've got to lean on him, and you've got to build your system around what he can do. Now Jason Kidd has an opportunity to put his stamp on a team that doesn't have Luka, because I don't think you can do the same thing with a Kyrie, and then your backup point guard is a Dinwiddie, and Exum, a Brandon Williams, right? Like I don't think he can do the same exact thing in the same system. So I'm curious to see what he can do. We've already seen some of that with Klay Thompson getting more off ball, more off-ball plays and things like that. Like, don't tell Eddie Johnson, the Suns analyst guy, that the Mavs have been running off-ball actions for Klay Thompson, because apparently he doesn't think that teams run off-ball actions at all.
He's been saying we still good for the Suns for the past 5 years. I'm like, are you though? Like,
oh man, we've been in some Twitter beefs with him before.
Yeah, we have. Yeah. Now it's just with Mavs fans.
Yeah, right. But I'm interested to see with Jason Kidd, because I think that's a positive storyline, because we've already seen the Mavs have won 4 out of their last 5, and this team fights every single night, and you got to give the coach some credit. And so this is Kidd's chance to put his stamp on a post-Luka team.
They got to change up everything right now. No bigs.
Yeah, that's
you got to change up how you do your offense. How are you going to compensate on defense? Where Nick goes off screen to make some.
Drinking water. Give me a break.
Are we sure it's water in there?
I mean, right now, no. This is how we're staying positive, guys.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm fascinated. Let's see what the next couple of weeks looks like after these last 5 or 6 games. they come out and they win a bunch of games. So these next few weeks they afloat and stuff. And like, all right, Jason Kidd's coaching his butt off right now.
Yeah, he is right now. The Mavs also have an opportunity to rebuild their roster now because the Mavs have been building their roster around Luka since 2018, right when he was drafted, and so now they have this opportunity now, and I think that's a storyline to watch.
Yeah, I think this is one of the main storylines about the Mavs too is like the direction they're going roster building. Like how many teams across the league, even when they sign a player, like I remember when Toronto traded for Brandon Ingram and then extended him. How many people are like, what are they even doing? Like, what direction are they going? You can just look at different teams that it's like, are they tanking? Are they not? How are they even building their roster? Who are they building around? Are they trying to do like 5 out, or are they trying to, build around a heliocentric guy? Is he one of those guys? Is Kate Cunningham like a Luka type? It's just like there's so many different, teams around the league and schemes and how they're building, and so many different times you don't know what they're like really going for, and you don't really have to ask that question with Dallas right now because, hey, they got AD. You know how much they love AD. They obviously really wanted AD, and it's like, they're committed to doing the too big system. Like, hey, they've been very open. Nico Harrison, even on record of like, hey, see what's happening in Cleveland right now in those bigs. We love that. And saying like, we want to embrace that model. We want to do the too big model. We want to focus on defense. They bring in Max Christie too. They want these defensive culture setters, all the different stuff you want to throw in there. The direction they're going for. And I actually like the too big thing. I watched a video earlier today of this guy breaking down some things that Boston is doing right now with two bigs and how much they've leaned into it a lot, how Cornette's playing a little bit more, and just some of their numbers on offense and defense, but with two bigs on the floor. So it's a huge bummer that we're not getting to see it right now because of the injuries, but you at least know the direction and the roster building thing that they're going for right now. It's like, all right, it's just a matter of health at that point.
Yeah, I think the health, as much as it is a negative, can be a positive too. It's like, all right, well, at least the Mavs know that this team will be a good team when everybody's back, and there is an opportunity for those guys to be back. I don't know what the injuries are going to be, and so you talk about roster building. We're going to be able to see maybe this roster get built injury return by injury return, right? Like we've seen what it is right now. Then they get PJ back. Hopefully they get Caleb Martin back right after that. Then maybe they get Anthony Davis back. Then maybe they get Gafford back. Then maybe they get Lively back. And so like the team will be built as players return from injury. And so I think if that's going to happen and they do get those guys back in the timelines that have been said, then that's a positive to look at. Because then there's like, oh, now we're looking forward to a Lively coming back, a Gafford coming back, an AD coming back. And I think that could be a big positive for the rest of the year because they'll just keep getting better and better.
Yeah. And even going into the summer of like, what they're trying to build this summer. So it's like, you're not trying to figure out, man, what kind of big are they going to go out and try to get? Stretch 5, small ball 5? Are they going for the bruise? Like, what they're trying to build. So you can kind of like try to pencil in like the type of players that they're going to go after.
There's the one storyline this summer with Kyrie, and if he comes back, he's got a player option, and so we'll see that. I think he's got the Mavericks over a barrel right now with leverage because after the trade, right? So I think he's going to get what he wants.
Definitely got some more leverage after that trade.
With the Mavericks. But then you also have AD signed, Klay, PJ, Gafford, Caleb Martin, Najee Marshall, Max Christie, Dereck Lively, all signed next year. Omax too. Jaden Hardy also too. And so you've got all those guys signed. You've got Dwight Powell on a player option. You've got Exum and Dinwiddie as free agents. And so you kind of just have two things to do this summer, right? Is re-sign Kyrie and to get a backup point guard in some way, to get like a backup, or another offensive creator in some way. Hopefully
some of the money stuff gets interesting this summer, just how much committed money they have. But it also, just so much depends on, what if they want to make a trade for another guy like a Kevin Durant or somebody it is, and then it's like, oh, Kyrie's going to opt out and re-sign to, at a little lower number to help him bring. Yeah, I don't know what. I don't want to commit yet to like, oh, they can only. Somebody asked the other day, is like, can they only bring back Exum or Dinwiddie? I'm like, I don't even know how much either one of them is going to command on the market, right? Like more than a minimum. And then are you willing to go more than the tax to bring back Dinwiddie on a 2-year deal or whatever it is? I don't know.
The mid-level or the mid-level or whatever they end up getting. They'll be under the first apron though this summer.
Yeah.
Spotrac has him 3 million away from that, so we'll take that.
Yeah. Kind of depends on what that new Kyrie number is at too, if he opts out.
For sure, yeah, it could go up, but I think that'll be part of it. Is that they'll have to structure that to keep them under that. There's so many things in the offseason, but I think the positive that you focus on the rest of the
contract.
The positive you focus on the rest of the season is that they have a team that's built, and they'll slowly, hopefully, get guys back, and you'll get to see what this team is. Hopefully by the end of the season.
I mean, hopefully that'd be a dream scenario.
That's why. Okay, since we're doing positives, what's like the best case / realistic moment for the Mavericks? Because to me, I think it is you get the guys back when you expect. So eventually by there's 2 weeks left in the season, you have everyone back. Because that's possible with all the injury timelines right now. You have 2 weeks left in the season. The Mavs have clawed and fought their way to stay relevant and to stay in maybe the play-in, or maybe they're even close to 6. They're only 2 games back there right now. And so you're there, and all of a sudden you play a Memphis, a Houston, or even OKC in the first round. And then all of a sudden you're the team nobody wants to play. And I think that's a scenario where, all right, that's a huge positive for the Mavericks.
Yeah, I mean, best case scenario is like what you said. You get everybody back by the end of the season, or at least 2 of the 3 bigs. You go into the a play-in game. Let's say that if they don't make it to the 6th spot, and you win one of those first play-in games, you build some momentum, and you go into a first round series and you knock off somebody like a Memphis or Houston or a Denver, whoever it is in the first round. I mean, you talking about like big time moments, and especially if it's AD and Kyrie like putting up monster performances and stuff like that to like upset one of those top seeds and win a series, like that'd be a massive moment.
We've already seen against Houston with AD, right? Like
yeah,
that it can work, and it is great already, right? That's one of the more frustrating things, is that he's going to be out for however long he's out, and you already know that it's going to work.
Yeah.
It only took 1 game. In the comment section on YouTube, let us know some positives that you have and that you're looking forward to for the rest of the season. Keep continuing to follow the show. We got a newsletter, LockedOnDaily.com. You can go check that out and subscribe there. Check the QR code for different ways to follow the show as well. Like the text line is in there, things like that. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.